Good morning, children. So, in the earlier class, we discussed the first part of the first chapter, that is our Earth. So, in the earlier class, we discussed the introductory part of the Earth and evolution and remaining parts. Now, we are going to discuss the remaining part of the first chapter, our Earth. So, when we learnt about the internal structure of the earth, we learnt that there are three main layers in the earth, that is crust, mantle and core. Now we are going to learn about the movements of the earth crust. What do you mean by earth crust? The outer layer of the earth is known as crust, on which we live actually. So we find the mountains, plateaus, trees, all those things we observe on the earth's crust. So when the earth's crust moves, so because of the tectonic plates movements, the earth crust moves. We learnt that the continents have moved, collided and merged. After some time, they have been torn apart again. But to explain the formation of continents, in the early 20th century, the German geophysicist Alfred Wegener introduced the theory of continental drift. Alfred Wegener. He was the geophysicist of Germany. He introduced the continental drift theory to explain the formation of the continents. And he postulated a massive supercontinent called Pangaea. And there was water, and there was a large body of water. He named it as Panthalassa. The Pangaea broke up to form Pangaea. It is the massive supercontinent. So Pangaea broke up to form two types of landforms. The first one is Laurasia land or Angara land, and the second one is Gondwana land. So Angara land and Gondwana land were separated by a sea called Tethys. And in the Laurasia land, we find North America, Greenland, Europe and Asia. In the Gondwana land, we find Gondwana land, this is the second one. First one is Angara land. In the Gondwana land, we find South America, Africa, India, Australia and the Antarctica continents. Now, so according to the continental drift theory, the continents are not static but they are dynamic. So we will learn about the movements of the continents in the coming chapter in our class. And now we are going to learn about the Earth's grid system. So the Earth's grid system. In order to locate a place place on the globe exactly, we need the help of latitudes and longitudes. So what do you mean by grid? Do you know? So I am going to give the definition of grid. A network of latitudes and longitudes on the globe is known as grid. So when we draw longitudes and latitudes on the globe, we find some square boxes. Each box is called a grid. Each box is called a grid. So with the help of grid, we exactly locate a place on the globe. Now when we learn about the grid, we find two words, latitudes and longitudes. Now we are going to discuss the latitudes and longitudes. Now first we discuss latitudes. Latitudes. What do you mean by latitudes? Does anybody say? So you might have studied in the earlier classes, but now I am going to tell you what latitudes are. Now, the English word latitude has been derived from the Latin word called latitudo. Latitudo. This is the Latin word actually. It means that width. Latitudo means width. So from west to east on the earth we find horizontal lines. So the largest circle, that is the latitude that goes around the earth from at equal distance from north pole to south pole is known as equator. So I will tell you once again the definition of the equator. It is a circle drawn taking from the equal distance from north pole to south pole. A horizontal line is drawn. So this is called an equator. An equator, the equator divides the earth into two halves horizontally. From equator to north pole it is known as northern hemisphere, and from equator to south pole it is known as southern hemisphere. So from equator to north pole there are 90 latitudes, and in the same way from equator to south pole there are 90 latitudes. Total 180 latitudes are drawn on the globe. So you may ask whether the lines are actually drawn on the globe. No, they are all imaginary lines. So that's why we do not think that the actual lines are drawn on the earth. So the variation of one latitude to another is 1 degree. That's why total 180 degrees are there. 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. That is about latitudes. Now we are going to learn about the longitudes. So longitudes are the vertical lines drawn on the globe. So from north pole to south pole they are drawn. So like longitude, this word also has been derived from the Latin word longitudo. It means length. Longitudo it is. So from north pole to south pole a line has been drawn through Greenwich near London in Britain. That's why it is 0 degrees longitude. This 0 degrees longitude is called as Greenwich longitude. It is Greenwich longitude. So the other names of Greenwich longitude are prime meridian. The other name is prime meridian. From Greenwich longitude we count the longitudes. When we move from Greenwich longitudes towards east direction, there are 180 longitudes are drawn towards east. There are 180 longitudes are drawn. In the same way, west direction also there are 180 longitudes. Total 360 longitudes are drawn. Whereas longitudes are circles, here longitudes are semicircles. They start from north pole to south pole. They do not move around the earth. That's why they are semicircles. They are the meridian. Meridian means noon. So, with the help of longitudes, we know the local time of the place. Right? How many longitudes are there? There are 360 longitudes. Quite opposite to the Greenwich longitude, there is 180 degrees east and west longitude. 180 degrees east west longitude. When we move from Greenwich longitude to westward, and at the same time when we move towards east, they join at 180 degrees. That's why 180 degrees east and west longitudes one and same. So when the sun's rays move from this, the day changes. The day changes. That's why this 180 degrees west or east longitude is known as international dayline. International dayline. Right. Now, with the help of longitudes, we know the local time of that place. Now we take up longitude and the question of time. Longitude and the question of time. The sun's rays take 4 minutes of time to travel from 1 degree longitude to the next successive longitude. That's why, so the 4-minute time difference has to be added when we go eastward. So from 1 degree to another degree, 4 minutes. When we move from, for example, this is a 0 degree longitude, this is 1 degree east longitude and 2 degrees east longitude. When we move from 0 degrees to 1 degrees, the time difference is 4 minutes. So, and the next from 1 degree to 2nd degree, there is a 4 minutes time. For example, on Greenwich Mean Time, there is 12 noon. On 1 degree longitude, what is the time? It is 4 minutes. And on second longitude, it is 8 minutes. In this way, we are adding the time difference when we move from Greenwich longitude to eastward. When we move from Greenwich longitude to westward, we have to subtract the 4 minutes time difference to know the exact time. So, when we move towards east, we have to add 4 minutes of time. When we move towards west, we have to subtract 4 minutes of time. So, for example, you take this 1 degree longitude, 1 degree west longitude. So, what is the time here? When it is 12 to Greenwich Mean Time, it is 11:56. At the same time, on second 2 degrees west longitude, it is 11:52. So So in this way, we have to decide the local time of that place. So we learnt about the longitudes and the question of time. But every country is extended between certain longitudes. If the people living in that area follow their local time, it will lead to confusion and inconvenience. That's why every country has to follow a certain local time as the standard time. So otherwise the people may not perform their duties and it will lead to a lot of confusion. So India has adopted 82.5 degrees east longitude. East longitude as the standard meridian of India. That's why Indian standard meridian is highest. Indian standard time is decided on the basis of 82.5 degrees east longitude. So with the help of longitudes, we decide the local time. And thank you.